limit a local government's ability to establish or increase a fuel tax?
The theme here for the preemption, it pertains to, the language in here is for commercial activities. So that's business receipts. And we're getting this question a lot. And there are a lot of different excise taxes. And excise taxes in general are a tax per a gallon. Whereas a commercial activity tax here is based on total business receipts for the company. So they're functionally different taxes. And so the preemption applies to those that are like the commercial activity tax here. That applies, you calculate total receipts and you multiply it by a rate. Fuel taxes generally are X cents per gallon. So it's a different structure of a tax.
In here, I've got.
I think Kate might have something else to say about it as well.
Co-chairs and Representative Smith, I would just add, in the case of any tax that's going to be imposed at the customer level or on a customer, it's going to be distinguishable from the commercial activity tax, which is going to be imposed on the receipts, essentially of the seller. So it wouldn't be covered by this.
Just
Go ahead.
yeah. So really the same question, but as it relates to a franchise fee.
And this is where the language is added here. It gets a little bit more in a gray area. Some of the franchise fees and franchise taxes, in calculating them, the business receipts can be an input into that tax. And so that's where it was a little more gray area. And so that's why that language was added. Or the language that says that it doesn't apply to.
These amendments limit a local government's ability to establish or increase the rate of a privilege tax.
I think it depends on how the tax is structured. I'm going to go back to the nature of the tax. And the tax that's being created here is, to build on what Kate said, is not a transactional tax. So a transactional tax is, I buy something and then there's a tax that can be attributed directly to me that I paid. I buy a gallon of gas and then, or I buy a pack of cigarettes, there's a tax associated with that. The commercial activity tax created here isn't that transactional kind of tax. It's based on a quarterly basis. You look at business receipts and apply a rate to it. Privilege tax, I think it would depend on how it's structured. Some of the names of the taxes aren't necessarily elucidating with respect to that transaction piece.
Same question as it relates to a sales tax.
A retail sales tax? I think of a retail sales tax as a transactional tax. So a state that has a 5% sales tax and I go in and I buy a pack of pens, then they'll be able to see the tax that I paid, and I can identify those tax dollars with the pack of pens that I just paid for. I mean, that's my perspective.
So nothing would limit it. Do that.
Representative Smith, any of the taxes where the incidence is going to be on the customer are not going to be covered by the preemption against commercial activity taxes.
Intent in the bill to prevent local governments from considering these that I've just mentioned as types of revenue options for a city.
I'm not aware of anything that limits that.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.